Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just reading some classic Ghostbusters from IDW.
Oh, let me guess, in anticipation of new picture release from the set, huh?
Oh my god, that was so cool. Hey, welcome to season 2, Pop Culture Minefield.
From the deepest, darkest recesses of Dangerous Nerds headquarters, Keith Moncrief and Gary Kissel.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Minefield with Keith
And Gerry.
And we're here to talk about some nerd stuff.
Welcome to season 2.
This is season 2. Oh my god!
Do we start all over again in the numbering? Or?
We're just like Discovery! We got greenlit!
Yeah, we'll wait till they see what we have up our sleeves this time.
It's skinless bone and meat. No. I guess basically we're going to talk a bit. We have two subjects we're going to talk about first.
Yes.
And number one is we're going to be talking about the article from the Rep.
Yes.
And John Wick creator Derek Kolstad.
And then the second story we're going to talk about today will be about the Russo brothers and their cryptic message.
Russo brothers?
Yes.
I sometimes wonder if they're even related.
Oh, they are. They're from Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Love that
place. I always think of the Drew Carey show with the theme song. It's the only thing good that came out of Cleveland. I'm sorry. I was only joshing.
I'm sorry, Arsenio. I'm sorry.
And so what's this news about John Wick?
Basically, the creator of John Wick will be joining the team from that'll be heading up the MCU's new television series for Disney Plus for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series.
Oh my God, I'm really looking for that. Well, it's not the Falcon anymore now.
But they're still calling it that. That's still what the series is going to be named.
Because I thought maybe that was like something they did intentionally to throw us off.
They've not yet changed it. Personally, I'd like
What do you know?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
It makes none, but it's the MCU TV show, so Kevin Feige and the team can do whatever they want.
That's right.
But they're adding Derek Kolstad to their team to help them with the show. And again, for those of you out there that have enjoyed, especially you, that have enjoyed the John Wick movies up to this point, that can be nothing but coolness.
I feel such a connection because I actually know somebody that's in the film that fights him. You know, and it's like, oh my God, I remember when he was a kid. He finally made it because he's been in some really good stuff.
Yes.
You know, but God, I love that freaking movie.
It's great, isn't it?
Of course, I'm talking about Mark Dacascos. So, but what's the other thing? I mean, is there anything else on that?
No. It's just adding him to the team, which shows that they are going all out and trying to get as much talent as possible for this. All of this stuff, all of these MCU-related series, WandaVision, Loki, and of course, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they should be considered canon to what they are doing within the MCU. It's the equivalent of basically making movies, except it's just for a weekly television series. It's going to have the look, the feel, and all of this stuff will be limited, but it'll be fun. Now, the show will not be premiering until August of 2020, okay? But the rumor is that along with both the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they could have some additional characters show up on the show. So
very, very cool.
And basically they're doing it the right way. They're not just trying to put a bunch of stuff together and then just throw it out there. They're taking their time with it, treating it like a movie, except they're going to give you individual episodes. And that's the right way to handle something like this, not just sort of slapping stuff together and putting it out there. It never really works, especially with all of the money that they've made with Infinity War and Endgame. Why would you want to just slap something together?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And Feige is not known for just slapping something together. He puts a lot of thought into it.
He's a planner.
Agree with it or not, the guy really puts a lot of thought behind the stuff that he does.
But it's a big story because, again, being added to that crew and being part of it, probably, in my opinion, that is my most anticipated of these shows. I mean, I like Loki a lot. And WandaVision sounds like it's going to be fun. And you also have a Hawkeye series coming. But for me, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know that's going to be good.
Yeah, he and I are both Marvel fans. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big DC fan too. But I've always, when it came to the movies, that was the thing.
It's hard not to be an MCU fan.
Yeah,
I'm more of an MCU fan than a Marvel movie fan because there's way too much stuff that isn't as much.
Well, even
quality.
when it came to the comic books,
yeah,
because as much as I love Batman, Batman was pretty much all I read from DC.
Yeah,
I was in love with the crap from Marvel. I mean, my first favorite superhero was Submariner. And because of the 70s with John Byrne, I became a fan of the X-Men, and just I freaking loved Marvel. And so we got all this great stuff, and even though they pick and choose where they grab things from what decade, there's always something, a nugget of something. And so all the naysayers, and I've got a lot of friends who are like that. Barry Branscombe, I'm talking about you. He's a comic pro buddy of mine. In fact, I was talking about the Netflix thing. I posted a thing about Netflix, and he wrote all this, the change across all this stuff, and none of it's just nobody cares. It's just change. It's just change. And I said, do you realize you just described the evolution of an entire landscape, and you wrote meh? I just made fun of him. I'm like, it's just. You just talked about one of the single greatest changes on the changes of how entertainment is delivered, and it's meh.
Some people like what they like.
Yeah.
I
love you, Barry. You're a good guy.
Well, listen, our second big story is a really mysterious message that was tweeted out by the Russo brothers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were talking about this.
Oh, man. So anyway, the way that works out is that there was a cryptic video posted to Twitter on Wednesday, July 10th. So if you go on to Twitter and find the Russo brothers, just go to their July 10th message, and pretty much it's just the numbers 071919. But the audio from the message is taken from their appearance, their MCU appearance from when they unveiled Infinity War 2 years ago. And people have been trying to figure out exactly what the Russo brothers are trying to put out there. Now, they have already stated that they are done with the MCU. My theory is whatever they're doing, it might be related to the MCU, but it could be in conjunction with something that they've already done. Maybe maybe bringing in a few scenes that were cut out of the Infinity Saga from their end. Or it could be something new. Now, as soon as they were done working on the movies, in the time between putting out Infinity War and Endgame, they released their sci-fi channel television series called The Deadly Class, which is based on the comic of the same name. And that was really good until Sci-Fi canceled it for whatever reason.
Oddly, they actually canceled it instead of greenlighting it for another season and then saying, okay, figure out how to find the money.
Which
is what they did to Winona.
Yeah, well, Winona Earp.
Yeah.
That, again, it's... I don't get that move, Sci-Fi. I mean,
Sci-Fi's never, since they, when they sold, became this SYFY.
Yeah.
And they canceled Eureka. I've not been a big fan of theirs. The Expanse was the closest, and then they canceled that one. Best sci-fi show on television. Period. Oh well.
They're on a streak, they're on a real winning streak to having hit shows and stuff they eventually cancel. I mean, you had The Expanse, you had The Magicians. I mean, you don't get me started.
We could just go on and on about how stupid sci-fi is.
You get good stuff and then you screw it up.
Worst channel ever. That's for Craig. He thinks I'm the comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Worst episode ever. Worst parents ever. Worst cosmic wars ever. Worst crossover ever. Worst reading ever. Worst jammed in movie parody ever. The worst movie ever. And send and sip.
I rest my case.
Worst? I can't even do that guy's voice. Worst thing ever. Anyway, so you don't have any idea what it might be, or
Well, everybody's got theories, but
what are
that's
some
all
of the
they-
theories?
Some people are thinking that it is additional stuff from the movies,
From the film.
from the MCU, whether it's in-game or Infinity War related stuff that has probably never been put out there before that they're just going to show.
What was it that they were talking about that they were interested in doing not too long ago? You remember?
The Russo brothers they're wanting to do something different than what they've been doing up to this point. Considering
Wasn't it Kroll that they were interested in doing?
that Kroll was one thing, but I mean they have several other things.
I'd love to see that because that's a film I loved, but it had so many problems despite being awesome.
Yeah.
It's like when it moved into the third act, it just sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
And but
The potential was there.
Yeah, the potential was there. It's still a solid story from beginning to end,
The novel is amazing.
which I've never read. It's really weird. Every once in a while, I find out that a movie was adapted from a book I never read. No,
Well,
no,
now,
I didn't know that.
when I talk about the novel, though, I mean the novelization of the film. Whoever they
Oh,
hired,
I get
yeah,
you.
the author that was hired to adapt that did a phenomenal job. And the basic premise to Crawl is something that is so solid and fun that just
It really is.
When you read it, your mind starts to take off to where it can actually go, and the movie, as you said, falls apart in the third act.
It does. It just fell apart in the third act, and it didn't. It wasn't like it fell apart to where you're like, oh, I hated it. It was just like, huh. You're sitting there going,
It starts out amazing,
and then you're like,
and then the ending comes, and it's like,
oh, okay. I guess it's love conquers everything. Okay. No magic, just love. Okay.
Well,
All you need is love. Anyway.
also, just to, one of the actors from that, Freddie Jones, just passed away.
Yes, he did. Yes,
And
he did.
again, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I
Freddie
just
Jones
posted
films.
about that today. Just a great actor. Great character actor.
Yeah.
So I've seen him in so many things, man. And we also lost the girl that played the Blueberry Girl in
Veruca Salt.
was that
I think it's.
that's the character song. Yeah, the character's name.
Yeah.
But anyway, the actress she passed away. It's only 62, man.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's just only a handful of years older than us.
And also character actor Rip Torn.
Yeah, did you see what I wrote about that on my post?
What did you write?
I wrote, "Rest in peace, Rip first. I wrote for anybody else did, and then I wrote, "I blame Men in Black International. It was so bad it killed Rip Torn." And I said, and the best part of this is he would laugh at that joke because he was
Probably.
a wacky dude.
I do enjoy. You can tell a lot. First of all, how young someone is.
Any other questions?
From where they know him from. Me, I'm old because the first thing I think about when I think of Rip Torn is Beastmaster.
You will die tonight!
Ah, shoot. I was hoping it was the same thing I remember him from. I'm a third generation fan. My grandfather loved him on TV in the 50s. Would talk about how awesome he was. And then my dad became a fan. And then I saw this weird psychedelic movie with David Bowie, The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in it, and he's really good in that film. And yeah, I'm one of those weird people that was watching mature films as a kid. I watched a lot of grown-up films as a kid, and I'm a fan of them. Some of them would freak me out. That one freaked me out a little bit. And I saw, what's his name? The Italian director that did the Cat with the Crystal Plumage, or the Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and he did the Cat o' Nine Tails. He did a lot of the. He did Suspiria.
Suspiria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but
Sweet.
he made that movie Cat o' Nine Tails. I saw it when I was like 8 years old, 7 or 8. And that movie, I saw it on a drive-in with my brother, and it scared the crap out of me. But I couldn't stop watching it. I'm like that. It's like, I mean, and my daughter's the same way. She would hide, like scared me one night. I was watching The Grudge, and I'm sitting
Which
there.
version?
The American
Okay.
release, but I'd already seen the Japanese version.
Okay.
But I had the American version, just rented it, was watching it. It was past her bedtime. She was in her room asleep, or so I thought. And I'm sitting there, and we had really nice surround sound in that house. And so I thought I heard the surround sound because it's the credits, and all of a sudden I hear this sound. I'm looking around like, what the heck is that? And then I realize it's coming from my right. And so I turn and look down the hallway, and there's my daughter with long hair, and she's like sitting there making that noise, and I'm like, oh, and my heart skipped, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a heart attack. You know, my daughter's gonna give me a heart attack, and she pipes up and goes, why did she make that sound, Dad? And I'm like, what are you doing up? But that's my daughter. She loves a horror film. Okay, we've gone on long enough. We're gonna take a slight break, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
Hey, listen, we'd like to basically introduce a brand new segment called Zeitgeist. Basically, it's just pretty much a quick run through of the top 5 things currently in geek entertainment. So we're going to start the countdown with number 5.
That, of course, is that new image we got from Star Trek Picard, where it shows his doggy. He's got a pitty,
Yeah.
a little pit bull. And of course, Craig pointed out that the dog has clipped ears or something, which is considered an abuse.
Yeah.
So he pondered, does that mean that Picard rescued this dog, maybe? At least that's our hope. And he didn't have that done to that dog, because that's not very nice.
Especially in the 24th century.
Yeah, come on, guys. Clipping the ears like that. Do pit bulls even exist in the 21st century?
I think they would. They'd be running their own starship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, they could, yeah. Cybernetics. But number 4 is Sony and MCU Spider-Man Far From Home and the continued relationship for the Spider-Verse.
Yes, and the story that came out that was stating that unless Far From Home made $1 billion, that Sony would be able to pretty much opt out of future dealings with.
Yeah,
the
if it doesn't clear $1 billion, the rights go back.
Yeah, well, considering that the movie's made over $600 million after its first week, there's a good chance.
There's a really good chance. There really is.
It's gonna make $1 billion.
And it was really interesting too that I watched that video and I showed it to you of Amy Pascal and sitting there with Kevin Feige. This is the same woman that threw her drink on him when they met for lunch. And they're sitting there, and Kevin Feige absolutely looks like he's just, I'm not enjoying this even remotely. And she's just going on about their relationship.
Kill her with a thought.
And of course, she's talking about it in this interview that their relationship's going to keep going. And so Midnight's Edge had an interesting theory that it's possible that we just haven't heard about it, but there's already an agreement struck. And It's just a theory because it's really weird that we're not hearing anything in the movie's released.
Well, here's the other thing, though. Amy Pascal has left
Sony.
Yeah.
And now Rothberg, or whatever his name is in charge. Yeah, I know.
Their team there for Sony is
He's such a winner.
Both those guys are just bad. I mean...
Did I say winner? I meant wiener.
You have the CEO and Avi Arad both are just not the kind of people that you want to be dealing with. But hey, that's it. I'm breaking the rules of Zeitgeist because I'm spending too long on the story.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Yeah. So number 3, Stranger Things Season 4.
Yes, the planned Season 4. Because apparently you were saying, and we talked about this, Netflix is saying Season 4 is the finale. And of course, we knew from the very beginning they planned 5 seasons.
Yeah,
So they need to move to
another
network.
Yeah.
And personally, I don't think that show should be PG, or what do they call it, TV-14. I think that it should be rated R for the violence and gore and language.
You mean on Cinemax?
Skinemax, not so much, because I'm afraid they'd abuse it. But HBO would do really well with it. Or,
well, there is another service they could go through. I mean, if it isn't Amazon. But we'll save that for later on.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Rocket Man's director.
Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah, he's up to directing. I was really excited when I saw that today. I was like, oh, he's directing Sherlock 3. So we're going to get to see the new Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else is going to return. I hope somebody returns.
Well, I hope the rest of the cast return. I mean, I'm sure they'll have everyone else.
Well, what's her name died in the previous film,
Did she?
but I'm hoping she didn't die. I was hoping that was all a ruse because she was the woman that Sherlock Holmes always referred to as the woman that was the only woman he ever felt any feelings for. And I like that they put that in there, but it made me sad when she died. When Richard Harris's son, Jared, murders her with poison.
Oh, playing Professor Moriarty.
Moriarty.
Very good.
So the game's afoot. And moving on to number 1, and this is the one I was suggesting for Stranger Things.
Warner Media has announced that the name of its new streaming service shall be...
Are you ready?
HBO Max.
Really? Man. Somebody to get it all. What's that got to do with Warner?
They probably paid a group of people to come up with that.
Yeah, somebody walked away with some money on that deal for doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It's the Warner Television and Film Archives, and they're going to call it HBO Max.
Now, Warner owns, of course, HBO, but they also own MTV. They own the Cartoon Network. They own.
And they have this funny thing of buying things and then turning it into something that it's not.
Yeah.
Like MTV is no longer a music TV network. It's just really bad TV shows like Scream and Teen Pregnancy.
You'd think that they would just sort of do what Disney sort of is doing with their Disney Plus and just sort of take all this stuff, put it into one service, and present it to you. I mean,
on cable, they had 4 freaking networks at one time. MTV. But anyway, we're going to move on to the next thing, which is has to do with Stranger Things. And of course, we're talking about Susan Layton's segment. It's called Nerdsday with Susan.
Welcome to another Nerdsday with Susan Layton.
Hi everyone, it's Nerdsday. I'm Susan Layton. I wanted to talk to you guys about Stranger Things. And not maybe for the reason that you think. I mean, I'm not going to get into what happened on the show or how do I feel, will there be a season 4? Nothing like that. I want to get down and dirty with smoking. Yes. Unfortunately, this was brought to our attention at 1428 Elm, that Netflix has decided to basically go with the watchdogs on this one and tone down smoking in any of their future original series. Now, I understand smoking, it's unhealthy, and it could lead to death. How do I know this? It's personally affected my family. My mom died from COPD complications. She was a smoker for most of her life, and she quit in the 80s, and despite being 3 decades of not taking a puff, she still passed away. Now, I'm not going to even get on that soapbox, because people have already come at me with that they're addicted to things, and it's a trigger, and you know what? I'm going to be sympathetic, and I understand. But you have a right to your opinion, and I have a right to mine. When is this going to end? If we continue to listen to watchdog groups, or we continue to kowtow to people that are easily offended, why bother even having entertainment? Listen, Stranger Things takes place in the 80s. They're not glorifying smoking. A lot of people smoked. How do I know this? I lived during the 80s. It was very prevalent. You had it on airlines, you had it in restaurants, and even if you didn't want to be around it, it was still there, even if it was in the no smoking section. My parents were smokers. They smoked during the 80s. I, on the other hand, was an athlete. Did I try smoking? Yeah. Did I do it for a while? Yeah. Wasn't the smartest thing, but I tried it. But that's part of teenage life. That's part of being in college and being out on your own. But then you learn. I'm sorry, but just because characters are smoking in a TV show doesn't mean it's going to trigger that behavior in teenagers. Now, I imagine there's some kind of research that's been done, etc., but that research is only going to benefit the group that wants it stopped. I understand tobacco was insidious in the 80s, and they had Joe Camel, and I get that. But they got rid of Joe Camel. And yeah, it was a cartoon, and it probably did, it did influence younger kids to smoke. But they're going to do what they want to do. It's just like abstinence. Abstinence before marriage. Who are we kidding? This isn't going to work. It's never worked. Kids, young people are innately curious. They're going to do whatever their parents tell them not to do. They're going to try it because they're going to wonder, what are my parents going on about? Now, I'm not saying that, we just need to have smoking everywhere. But if we start with Stranger Things, okay, and we change that dynamic, it's like we're retconning the past. So, like, one of my friends made this very salient point. If we're doing that for Stranger Things, then hell, we're going to have to go back to the 1940s with Casablanca and the 50s, and we're going to have to go in and change all that and act as if smoking never happened when we know it has. Now, you can come at me on Twitter, you can come at me on Facebook, and I will respect your opinion. But I'm entitled to have mine, and I say if we start down this path, where do we end? Where does it end? Before, we can't do this, we're already on that path. We can't do this, we can't say this, we're going to offend these people, we're going to do this. No. And I'm not saying go out there and do hate speech, go out there and do whatever you want. No. That's why we have things in place as a government to regulate certain areas. The internet, not so much. But when do we start being entertained again? And I know I've been on this soapbox since I was on Nerdrotic. But when can we just be entertained? Why couldn't we enjoy Stranger Things and the story that happened, the amazing cast and the way they interact? Why do we have to sit back and start judging and going, well, David Harbour, he's been smoking too much and that doesn't add to the storyline? it wasn't probably, it was, it might have been in the script, it probably was in the script, but it wasn't a conscious decision to make him smoke to look cool. It's just what people did in the 80s. And like I said, I'm not glorifying it, I'm not justifying it. But why are we going to erase what happened in the past? We shouldn't, because there was a lot of bad things that happened, and I'm not even going to go down that road. But if we start doing that, what else is going to change? That's all I'm saying. But we need to really stop with all these petitions and all this, we don't like this, we don't like that, and then eventually we're never going to have any escape. Because entertainment is made to take us away from the bad things we see on the news, from things that are in our everyday lives that aren't optimum. We need an escape. We need a release. But if we can't get that, it's going to be a pretty dull world. It's going to be pretty damn dull, because we can't laugh, we can't enjoy ourselves. I just hope that somehow, some way, this is starting to come to a close. And I know I'm not the only one out there that feels that way. But I guess the whole point of my segment this week is live and let live. Because after all, maybe that's what we all should do. Thanks for joining me on Nerdsday, and I'll see you next week.
Hey guys, we're back. Thanks, Susan. Great editorial on these special interest groups bullying film production. It's like either you're free to do the art or you're not.
Yeah.
And but she's right, and we talked about what she was going to do before she did her segment, and I'm glad she had something to say about it. And all right, moving on to the next segment, we're going to be talking about a few things, and one of the things that you wanted to talk about,
Yes,
is this latest thing from IO9.
Yeah. IO9 basically put out a story that DC Comics will be launching 2 new series under its Black Label imprint. Okay?
Okay.
And that's the imprint that replaced Vertigo. Okay? So they'll be launching two brand new series that'll be dealing with the Joker and the Question. Okay?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Writer Jeff Lemire, along with artist Andrea Sorrentino, Dennis Cohen,
And Bill Sienkiewicz.
and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz! I will never be able to retrain my brain.
I know.
I've been reading that name that way for 35 years.
Anyway, the books will be called Joker, Killer Smile,
Oh, I like that one.
and The Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage.
Spicy.
Very much so. And remember, Black Label.
Oh, you had to go racist.
It's my job.
It's my job. And then, of course, we're going to talk some more about Netflix.
Yes. Netflix has an untitled Norse anime style animated series that's coming from Zack Snyder and Jay Oliver.
I'm looking forward to this because despite some of the criticisms over the Man of Steel and his handling of Superman, I love Zack's work. I always have. I think he really does well with dark, heavy stories.
Yes.
And this sounds dark and heavy.
And it'll be on Netflix. Now, Jay is someone that has worked with Zack on Batman v Superman, Justice League, and Man of Steel. And
3 controversial films by Zack Snyder.
But Jay also has been a director on various straight-to-home video animated releases from Warner Brothers over the years.
Oh, some of the DC stuff?
Yeah, a lot of. So he's.
Oh, any of them I've watched? Do you remember any? Tom?
Not off the top of my head. I remember seeing his name.
I'll look it up after the show.
Yeah.
No, let's stop the show and just go look it up now. No, we're not going to do that.
But basically, this entire series will be under Stone Quarry Shingle, which is Zack Snyder's company. This will be a new offshoot of that.
That is the name of his company?
Yeah, Stone Quarry.
Oh, okay. Stone Quarry Shingle.
Yeah. It's going to be called Stone Quarry Animation.
What does the Shingle mean? I don't. Stone Quarry is a cool name, but Shingle? Like, how is that related?
You know what? I may have that wrong. Stone Quarry.
It's just Stone Quarry?
Yeah, Stone Quarry.
Okay. I was just
Stone
thinking.
Quarry. And it'll be called Stone Quarry Animation.
I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to this, and you were saying that Jay has done some storyboards for it already?
Oh, no, not this. They're both developing the series together. So Jay will be.
So he's going to be doing the animatics and stuff, and then turning it over to whatever.
And really, the thing with Zack Snyder is, I think they're going to come up with the idea together, and he'll have his ideas about the characters and the stories that they'll be telling, choosing which particular Norse stories to tell through this, and Jay will be helping to make that happen.
That's very cool, man. We got anything else new, Connor?
I think that's it.
I love Lamp. I guess we're just going to wrap up there. Season 2, Episode 1.
Now, by the time you see us for the next episode, it'll be right smack in the middle of the 50th anniversary celebration of what we have come to call Geek Christmas, a.k.a. the San Diego Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con?
Yes.
I've been, and I got to tell you, I'll never go back. I felt like I couldn't breathe in that place. It's like
I'll go back.
So many people.
I'll go.
If you go, I have to go.
I'd like to go because I've never really been.
Oh, well, I went because of IDW with the work I did for them, and so
IDW's cool like that.
Like whenever they publish one of my books, we would get invited to go with them to their big. I don't want to call it a table. They have a big section, huge arch, and it was really cool. The one year, 2011, it was like my artwork was all over this arch, and I'm like,
that's heady.
I was spazzing out. I'm nerding out over my own work. So, but
listen, that'll be next week. Remember, 50th anniversary, 50 years of San Diego Comic-Con. All kinds of major stories. Marvel
Julius.
Marvel Comics and Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Studios will all have a major presentation. In fact, it'll be that Saturday.
Awesome sauce right there. Wow. Sauce, awesome combined. I'm all in. Well, that's it, guys. The end of the first episode of Season 2 for Pop Culture Minefield. Remember, click the like button, please. And if you like the show, subscribe. Click the bell so you can get notifications from us, including when I post a comment, because I often do a little update. With that, that's Keith.
That's Gerry.
Roll credits.